My name is Elise Naramore. I am a high school physics teacher who co-wrote the book Going Gradeless with my colleague David Frangiosa. The primary purpose of this video series is to explain how the learning progression method is implemented, with a special focus on the logistics of grading. Perhaps you are a teacher trying to develop a new strategy, or perhaps you came across the book Going Gradeless, or you've been part of the ungrading movement. Maybe you've been using standards-based grading, but are dissatisfied with the results like we were. In this video series, Putting the Learning Progression Method into Action, I will explain why we do this, then what the main components are. A significant portion is devoted to grading and the implementation of the strategy in a traditional school system. For those of you seeking information on how to create a learning progression, there is an entire professional development course available at www.reimagineschools.com. In addition, I encourage you to contact me with any questions you may have that are not addressed in this series. You can find that contact information at the same place. Before we continue, please let me note that my point of view tends to flip-flop as I think about students of mine, fellow educators, and/or parents who might be interested in this information. In addition, note that the examples and information that I'm using have been updated for the 2022-2023 school year. Because we are constantly adjusting our learning progressions to better respond to what we see in the classroom, there may be minor differences in my current classroom compared to what you see in these videos. Let's begin with part 1, in which you will learn about the objectives of the learning progression method. To begin, I don't believe in change just for something to do. Teaching and learning is hard enough. The main thing is that I want grades to have meaning. There are all kinds of alternative assessment methods and lots of new jargon in education. In some fantasy world, I wouldn't have to give grades at all. But in my district, we have to translate what students do into a grade. So what we do in our class is delayed grading, putting time in between the assignment and the evaluation. We give descriptive feedback every week on every assignment, but there's daily practice which has no grade directly associated with that feedback and practice. So when I say gradeless, we really just mean shifting the focus away from grades during the learning process. It's a pretty big adjustment for everyone involved, and change is hard. So why do we do this? The traditional grading system has been used for ages, and we're all used to it. So why rock the boat? We developed the learning progression model, which I'll call LPM, with the intention of creating a more supportive learning environment for all students. On our path, we were able to become much more specific about how we could do this. Our goals include providing a flexible and systemized framework to guide students through the development of specific skills, for teachers to use across all content areas and course levels to de-emphasize traditional letter and number grades or eliminate them completely, to develop a model that supports strengths-based descriptive feedback, and shift the focus of student learning from results to process. Over the rest of this video, I will summarize the 10 most important features of this strategy so that you can understand the differences between this approach and other methods of grading. These ideas will be revisited several times throughout this video series in a lot more detail. So it's not the last you're hearing of this, it's just an introduction. As teachers, we become very attached to content, but this varies in different disciplines. Some are already very skills-based, such as English. Regardless, content is indeed important because we cannot teach skills in a vacuum. Students must know some information in order to apply it. But knowing the information is simply the foundation. It's what they do with it that really shows their mastery. Learning is learning. The process doesn't change based on content. Students need to see something, try it, receive feedback, and try again. We keep repeating this cycle until we run out of time. While that may oversimplify the process a little bit, in general, it's true. The key to our philosophy is a strengths perspective. Every student has something they are good at, regardless of the level of their academic success. Based on interests, experiences, or other factors, every student has inherent strengths. We want to use these talents as a starting point of student interactions. Students become the directors of their learning efforts. They can communicate what challenges they are encountering, and we act as coaches in the classroom, providing guidance in acquiring the skills they identify. All students have the ability to learn. Students should be given multiple opportunities to try, succeed, and experience learning that comes from falling short of a goal. The learning relationship becomes a collaboration. Students and teachers share power in the classroom. Since scores are not averaged in our classes, students can develop at their own pace. Some may steadily improve, others may seesaw up and down, and still others may plateau for long stretches until they suddenly jump up 2 levels. Do we care about the rate of skill acquisition or that the skill is acquired before they leave us? Related to that, because there is no permanent effect on grades from a wrong answer, students can take risks, knowing that they will have more opportunities to improve. This is especially important for my striving students, who often leave things blank rather than try and be wrong. You can relax and reduce anxiety about the grade and just learn. Students get to make choices, and sometimes they aren't going to be the best ones, but this provides plenty of opportunities for learning. We will talk about those choices. I'd rather you choose not to do homework, see that you aren't doing well, and then make the conscious choice to do it. Or maybe you choose to skip a lab report one week because you have a performance or a research paper due in another class. There's no penalty, but there are consequences of not doing practice. We look for incremental growth over time. This is more natural and less stressful for both the teacher and the student. We'll discuss this a lot more in later modules. LPM provides resources that allow students to maximize their abilities. A teacher is accountable to the student. I will help you identify areas where there's opportunities for growth and assist you in developing concrete pathways to success. There needs to be consistency in our educational approach in order to best support students. Don't confuse consistency with the need to be identical. Consistency means that students understand what high quality work is, how to set goals and monitor progress regardless of the class or teacher. I can be honest because there is no pressure for me to finagle grades because I know that you have plenty of chances to improve. I can get submissions back quickly because feedback is focused, especially during the first half of the year. So this concludes the introduction to the learning progression method. In the next module, I will begin unpacking the learning progressions and describing the practices used in our classes.